Hello students, so let's start the lecture 2 of network theory. So last class in lecture 1 I have discussed of very basic terms of which are used in network theory, and discuss how to identify the load and source in a given electrical circuit. So today's let's start with the classification of electrical elements. So the electrical elements are classified as active and passive elements, linear and non-linear elements, unidirectional and bidirectional elements, time variant and time invariant elements, lumped and distributed elements. So let's start the active and passive elements. Clear? So again, there is sub-classification of active and passive elements. So active and passive elements are classified as active and passive elements. Again, active elements are classified as independent active elements and dependent active elements. And independent active elements are classified as ideal active independent elements and the practical active independent elements. And dependent elements are classified as voltage control voltage source or voltage dependent voltage source, voltage control current source or voltage dependent current source, current control current source or current dependent current source, current control voltage source or current dependent voltage source. So these are your active elements. Now next is your passive elements. So passive elements are three elements: resistance, inductance and the capacitance. So these three are your passive elements. Clear? So resistance again classified as linear resistance and the non-linear resistor. Inductor also linear inductor and the non-linear inductor. Similarly, capacitance also linear capacitance and the non-linear capacitance. So this was your classification of electrical elements and the classification of active and passive elements. So what are the active elements? Which elements are called as the active elements? So when the element is capable of delivering the energy independently, or when the element is having the property of internal amplification, so then that element is called as the active elements. Clear? So example like voltage source, current source, transistors, because transistors is dependent active elements, and op-amp. Op-amp is also a dependent element, active elements, and op-amp is also having a property of internal amplification. So these elements are called as the active elements. And next is passive elements. So when the element is not capable of delivering energy independently, or when the element is not having property of internal amplification, so then that element is called as a passive element. Example, resistor, inductor, capacitor, bulb, transformer, because transformer can step up and step down the voltage but not the power. Yeah. So these elements are called as the passive elements. Also, you can think that during discharging, capacitor acting as a source, because one cycle capacitor stores a charge, another cycle capacitor discharge it. So during discharging, capacitor acting as a source, but you can't say that capacitor is an active source. It is called as a passive source because capacitor don't have the internal amplification property. That's why capacitor is a passive element. Next, let's start the first passive element, that is the resistance. So resistance, what is resistance? Resistance is the property of resistor, and it opposes flow of current. And while doing the opposition of the flow of current, it converts that electrical energy to heat energy. So this is the resistance. So what is that power or electrical energy? So electrical energy's power is equal to I square R. So after some times, it converts that electrical energy into heat energy. So heat energy is your W. W equal to I square R T. So this is your heat energy. Clear? So let's say this here. one battery is connected. That battery is having the voltage or EMF as V, and resistor is connected across that. That battery is connected across the resistor. Clear? And because of that, because of this EMF, current starts flowing, and current is flowing as I. So electrical energy will be your I square R, means when current will flow through resistor, so the power will be generated, power loss will be there. So that power loss or electrical energy is denoted by P equal to I square R. And after some times, that electrical energy will be converted into heat energy because of this opposition of the flow of current by the resistance, by the resistor. Clear? So that is given by I square RT. Clear? And also the resistor is denoted by your this R equal to rho L by A. So rho is the resistivity, and the unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Unit of resistance is ohm. L by A, because resistor always depends on the length of the conductor and the area of the cross section of the conductor. And also this constant term, that is the resistivity. This is the property of that resistance. This is sometimes also called as specific resistance. So resistance is denoted by unit ohm, and resistivity by ohm meter. Here, so when resistivity of conductor is 0, then that conductor is called as a superconductor. For example, at 4.15 Kelvin, for this temperature, mercury, that material, mercury acts as a superconductor. For mercury at this temperature, resistivity is 0. Also, that resistance depends on the time temperature, means so the relation is given by R1 equal to R0, 1 plus alpha naught T. Yeah, after this some temperature difference, initial resistance was this, so there will be an increase in resistance, that is denoted by R1. Yeah, so this is about the resistance. Now let's see your Ohm's law. Yeah, and this R1 is the resistance after some time temperature, change in temperature. This R0 is the resistance of material at 0 degree, and this alpha naught is the temperature coefficient, and T is the change in temperature. Now let's move to next topic, that is your Ohm's law. Now discuss the Ohm's law. Clear? So Ohm's law, what is Ohm's law? Ohm's law is nothing but at constant temperature, this at constant temperature, this you need to keep in mind, the temperature should be constant. So at constant temperature, current density is directly proportional to electric field intensity. That is the Ohm's law. For example, let's say one conductor I have taken here, I have represented in this figure. The length of that conductor is L, and current flowing in that conductor is I. Area of cross section of the conductor is given by A. So what is Ohm's law? At constant temperature, the current density. So current density is denoted by J, is directly proportional to electric field intensity. And that electric field intensity is denoted by E. So this is your Ohm's law. Now when you remove this proportionality constant, one term will come that is called as sigma. So J equal to sigma E. So sigma is your conductivity, L is length, A is area, and J is the current density. Clear? Now current density means current flowing through per unit area. So current density you can denote by I by A, current per unit area, that is the current density. And sigma is the conductivity. Conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. So it will be 1 divided by rho. Clear? And electric field is the potential drop per unit length. Clear? So B by L is your electric field. So same is this statement, or same this line I have written like this. Current density, conductivity with respect to your resistivity, and electric field with respect to V by L. Clear? So now here, see here, now you can write this term A, you can take this side. Clear? And L or A, you leave it this side only. L and rho, you take this side. So this and this I you take this side. So when you moving the rho and L to the left hand side, so this will become rho L by A. And if you're moving this, taking this I to the right hand side, so this will become as a V divided by I. So rho L by A is what? Rho L by A is your resistance. So, V by I, so is this side. So resistance will be your V by I. So this is also modify your Ohm's law. So now you can say that Ohm's law, at constant temperature, the potential difference across the element, this at constant temperature, the potential difference across the element is directly proportional to the current flowing through the element. Here, let's say the element I have taken here, and that element is having a resistance R. One resistor, that element as a resistor I have taken, and the resistance is R. Potential difference across that resistor is V, and current flowing through that resistor is I. So at constant temperature, this potential difference is directly proportional to the current flowing through the element. This is also Ohm's law. So now if you remove this proportionality constant, then one term will come that is called as R, and that R is nothing but V by I. And what is that? That is a constant, because this is a proportionality constant. Here also, from this definition, we have proved that R equal to V by I. Clear? So this is your Ohm's law. Also, you have to one point keep in mind that Ohm's law can be applied only when temperature and the conductivity of the material are constant. Not only the temperature, conductivity of that material should be constant. Clear? So that is the Ohm's law. Now see the different forms of Ohm's law. So J equal to sigma E, this is called as the Ohm's law first form. V equal to IR, this is the Ohm's law second form. I equal to GV, this is the Ohm's law third form. And V equal to same, this current you can write as dq by dt, rate of change of charge. So V equal to R dq by dt. So this is also one form of Ohm's law. Clear? So this was about the Ohm's law. Now let's see some extra concepts related to resistance. So one is your bidirectional element and the linear resistor. So what are those bidirectional elements? So when element properties and classification, characteristics, not classification, when element property and the characteristics are independent on direction of current, then the element is called as the bidirectional element. So what are bidirectional element? When the element properties and characteristics are not depending on the direction of the current, whether direction is of the current is forward direction or the backward direction or the reverse direction, means when the property of characteristics of that element is not depending on the direction of current, those elements are called as the bidirectional element. And what are linear resistors? So when element obeys the Ohm's law, then the element is called as the linear resistance. Here, let's see here the bidirectional element. See here one V and I graph I have taken. So V divided by I means slope. V divided by I is your R. So R is slope and that is the constant. Here this side your current is positive direction and here your current is having the negative direction. But your property and characteristics, see characteristics means resistance, that is the constant only, whether in the forward direction or within the backward direction. So this property is not depending on the direction of the current, means resistance is not depending on the direction of current. So this resistance is your bidirectional element. And also resistor follow the Ohm's law. Any element which obeys the Ohm's law is called as the linear resistor. Here, for example, let's say how to understand the linear resistor. Let's say this resistor I have taken here and the value of that resistor is having resistance of R. voltage is, I have applied here the one source that having the voltage of Vs, source voltage, that is variable. Potential drop across this resistor is V and current flowing through this resistor is I. So R equal to V by R should be constant. Clear? So when you increase the, see here how it is constant, when you increasing the 10% of the current, voltage is also increasing the 10%. When the current is increasing to 90%, voltage is also voltage drop. This is not voltage, always this will be a voltage drop. So voltage drop is also increasing to 90%. Yeah, this means that your R is always constant. Similarly, for the negative source, means negative direction of the current, this side. This will be when you change the polarity of the battery or when you connect the battery in reverse direction, that will provide the voltage across this resistor at this minus V, and direction of the current will change. Here the direction of the current was from here to here. Now also direction of the current is changed. Clear? So this is about the bidirectional elements and the linear resistors. So what will be the unidirectional elements? So when element properties and characteristics depend on the direction of the current, then the element is called as a unidirectional element, opposite of that bidirectional. And also when element does not obey the Ohm's law, then the element is called as a non-linear resistor. Clear? For example, what is the example of unidirectional element? So diode is an example of unidirectional element. Clear? See here, one diode I have taken here, and the voltage applied is as Vs and the current flowing through the diode is I. So in the forward bias means when positive is connected to the positive side of your diode and negative of the battery is connected to negative side of your diode. So this condition is called as the forward bias. During the forward bias, your diode will be acting as a low resistance. Means it will ideally it will act as a short circuit, and the current will flow. Highest maximum current will flow. And let's see the you change the polarity. You change the polarity of Vs. If you change the polarity of the Vs, then negative terminal of the battery is connected to the positive side of your diode, and the positive terminal of your battery is connected to the negative side of your diode. So this condition, this case is called as a reverse bias. So during reverse bias, your diode will act as a high resistance. If high resistance means ideally it will act as an open circuit, and here the current will be zero. This current will be zero. So element properties, here the diode properties are depending on the direction of the current. Earlier the direction was like this, so it was acting as a low resistance. Now the direction of the current is like this, here it is acting as a high resistance. So here in the case of diode, element properties and characteristics are depending on the direction of current. That's why diode is called as the unidirectional element. Here these two current I and I dash are not equal. Here let's now let's see some more concepts about the resistance only, that is the open circuit and the short circuit concept. So let's see the first open circuit concept. For example, one circuit I have taken here. In that circuit, one fuse I have connected. The rating of that fuse is 10 ampere. One battery I have connected. The value of that source voltage is less than, let's see, the value of that source voltage is Vs, and the load applied is this one here. So when a voltage is applied across a load, then load current will flow. And that, let's say that load current is flowing as 20 ampere. And whatever fuse you have connected, that fuse is having a rating of 10 ampere. Now see here, the load current that is 20 ampere is greater than the rating of the fuse. Means more than the rating of the fuse, the current is flowing. This current is more than the rating of the fuse. Then what will happen? This fuse will melt down. This fuse will break. This fuse will become as an open switch. It will open the circuit because this current, it is handling the current more than this, the rating. Then I square RT heat will produce, and because of that this fuse will melt, and if fuse will melt, this point will become as a open. So this is a case condition of open circuit. Clear? Now see here, what will be the properties of open circuit? So let's say the 20 ampere of the current which was flowing through the load. Now this 20 ampere, let's say divided into two resistors are connected, 5 ohm resistor, 5 ohm resistor. So equal resistors connected in parallel means equal current will flow. So this 20 ampere is divided into 10 ampere and the 10 ampere. So what will be the current flowing through here? The current flowing through here is 0. So this become as a open circuit, and in open circuit current is 0. If current is 0 means resistance is infinite. So what are the properties of open circuit? Ideally, the properties of the open circuit are, in that condition, resistance will be infinite, current will be 0, and yeah, from the Ohm's law equal to IR, voltage will be also infinite. This voltage means potential drop from one of the potential will be infinite. So these properties you have to remember. Clear? If two points are open circuited means no current is flowing from this point to this point. If no current is flowing, then I will be equal to 0. But one potential is at this point, another potential is at this point. So ideally there is a potential difference, and ideally that potential difference is infinite, maximum. Clear? So current will be minimum, voltage will be maximum. If current is minimum means resistance is maximum, because resistance always opposes the flow of current. So resistance will be maximum. So ideally this is the these are the properties of open circuit. Now let's see the short circuit. For short circuit means you are shorting the 2 points with a simple conductor. Clear? So let's say ideally the short circuit means you are shorting with the conductor having resistance of 0. Clear? So now the 20 ampere was flowing through the load. Now and two resistors were connected, 5 ohm, 5 ohm, and if you have shorted these 2 points, means shorting means ideally the resistance is equal to 0. You are shorting with the conductor, ideal conductor. So always current follows the low resistance path. So current will not flow these two 5 ohm resistors, because here resistance is 0, here resistance is 5. So it will oppose, this also oppose. So this current will follow the low resistance path, and all the currents, whatever is coming, it will flow through this ideal conductor. So properties of short circuit ideally means your resistance of that short circuit point will be your 0. If resistance is 0 ideally, so current will be infinite and voltage will be your 0. How? See, at this point one potential is there. At this point one potential, 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 at this point also one potential, and ideally all the potentials are same because same conductor, ideal conductor. So all the potentials are same. So potential difference between this point to this point, if here potential is V1, here also potential is V1. So potential difference will be your 0 ideally. Practically R will be minimum, current will be maximum, and potential difference will be minimum. So this is the property of your property. These are the properties of the short circuit condition. Clear? So this was about the today's class. So next class we'll discuss the inductance and capacitance, other two passive elements. Today I have discussed the resistance, means one of the passive elements. So next two class I will discuss the inductance and capacitance. So thank you for the today's class.